Just let Lorenzo come in at that same point because of the standardization link as well, Lorenza.
Yes, thank you. And I would like to bring in a particular aspect of PPE that since Sylvia has already started to discuss that. And it is an aspect that may be overlooked, but I think it's worth mentioning that as the pandemic unfolded, we also became aware that the standard has a really gendered impact, and it impacts upon men and women differently. And even as we look at PPE, at this personal protective equipment that has been so much on the news in recent weeks, the vast majority of workers in the health sector are women, and according to data from WHO, there's about 70% of health workers that are women. And at the same time, the PPE that is being made available in hospitals, in care homes, it has been shown not to be perfectly adapted to the women morphology. So that, for example, masks and shields may not be fitting to the faces of women, and that can result in an increased risk of contamination. Gowns may be too big, and that may result in personnel tripping. This is not exclusively a problem for the health sector. It's a problem in many other sectors, but clearly with the pandemic, the specifics of the health sector came very much into prominence. Now, what effect is this having on women worker? Probably the data is not there yet. We found one statistic that infections among women health workers were higher than men in Spain. And according to data, 29 versus 11% of workers were infected. And so I think this, while the data comes in and maybe further data is certainly needed actually, still we need to take this as a wake-up call and really start looking at the standards from a gender perspective. And this is what we've been doing since 2016 at UNECE with a diverse group of stakeholders, and indeed Sylvia and Ray are very much a part of that, where we're looking at integrating a gender lens in standards development, and also strengthening the use of standards as tool for the achievement of SDG 5 and gender equality. So a little more than a year ago, we signed a declaration, and on the opening day, the declaration already had 55 signatories, and they grew to be almost 70 today, with all kinds of standards bodies, international like ISO, like ITU, like IEC, regional like Sensenelec, like ARSO, but also voluntary sustainability standards like Fair Trade, Rainforest Alliance, the Responsible Jewelry Council, Gold Standard, and many, many more. And again, if we look at standards from the perspective of women in all these sectors, we will find that women, again, through the pandemic, have been more exposed, as they're most often in informal in the informal sector. So once more, these standards, and particularly voluntary sustainability standards, will be so much important to really ensure that women are not left behind in the policies that we put in place for the recovery and to bounce back from the crisis.